Good morning. Again, thank you for tuning in. I'm having a lot of fun sharing these thoughts and making these videos because I think everybody wants to be heard. So I've actually heard that there's some comments on these videos where those videos are too basic. But what I want to tell these people is that, well, there are more people that are not as well versed as you are in finance, like my wife. I'm just telling her what she likes to learn. If it's too basic for you and you still see it, probably means big data is telling you things that you don't know it. Anyways, with that said, I want to talk about something that's definitely not being discussed in depth right now at other places, which is Elon Musk's new America Party. I've been thinking a lot about it last few days since he announced it, and I think by and large, everybody thinks that it's a stupid idea, and Elon Musk should just focus on building Tesla, which I am a shareholder in. And I actually sold some Tesla last week, luckily, but then I think I'm adding more back on because of the America Party. Now, there's three things that I thought it's worth sharing that I think most people did not know about. Number one, Bernie Sanders. I think everybody knows who he is, right? The outspoken senator who was part of the Democratic primaries a few years ago and is one of the most well-known popular senators. He's actually an independent. I actually didn't know that. I thought he was Democratic, but he's actually an independent candidate that had been in that seat for many years. He just chose to vote with Democrats 90% of the time. But that's first data point. Second data point that I want to share is historically, the most successful presidential independent run was two of them, Teddy Roosevelt and Ross Perot. But I don't know much about Teddy Roosevelt, how his world worked back in the early 1900s, because communication was completely different. But Ross Perot actually won 19% of popular votes of America, just like 20 years ago. I remember that. And what does that mean? That means 20 years ago, when there's no Twitter, X, no internet, well, limited, and everything was communicated through incumbent media, right? Both like radio and TV and cable TV, things like that. He had to spend a lot of money to educate the voters who he is. And he was a billionaire, but he's definitely not as wealthy as Elon Musk today. So that's the second data point. Now, the third data point, which was why I am actually very, very optimistic that this could work, is that all the ties nowadays to break up a bill or some sort of policy or a lot of elections, the tie-breaking votes are usually just a handful or just a couple. Now, this big, beautiful bill is just one vote. So, and a lot of districts are like that too, where they elect either House of Representatives or the senators. So, two things, right? On the third point. One is that the American Party doesn't need to win 50 seats in the Senate or 50% of seats in the House to make an impact. They really only need to win like a couple seats to make a huge impact. Now, to win those couple seats, it's probably manageable for somebody like Musk or somebody that can generate a following. That's first point. Second point is, even if Musk doesn't, or the American Party doesn't win an actual seat, what's going to happen is that the danger that American Party is going to pose to the incumbents, like the incumbent senators, incumbent congressmen, is going to be so much bigger than if he was just a billionaire today. So I'm actually, after thinking quite a bit about it in the last 24 hours, I'm actually thinking about buying back Tesla, the ones I sold now at a better price, because I think there's a chance of a true price if this happens. So in conclusion, I'm going to post this table that I asked ChatGPT to generate, which is looking at how many independent candidate runs there have been for the non-presidential seats and how they did. even if they had lost, because we know the wins were very rare, right? There's only, Bernie Sanders and a couple other guys historically. I think there's less than like 5 to 10 people historically that had held Senate or House seats who are independent. But this chart also looks at the independent runs that are not successful, because we want to know how much short they were, right? Because if they were short by just a couple points or single digits, then it's not a lot more work that the American Party needs to do. But if they are far off by like 30 points, then yeah, it's pretty impossible. So yeah, hopefully this was helpful, and until next time.